In 1968, 8 mice were dropped into a perfect world. Endless food, fresh water, no cats, no hawks, no disease. Nothing in that world was trying to kill them. 5 years later, every single one of them was dead. No illness did it, no hunger, no predator. A doctor could not have named a cause of death. So how does a world with 0 threats collapse? Something invisible was loose inside that paradise, and it left no marks at all. This paradise had a designer. His name was John Calhoun. In 1968, he built it inside a lab at the National Institute of Mental Health. He called it Universe 25. It was a tall metal enclosure, and every part of it was aimed at comfort. The food hoppers never emptied. The water always flowed. The temperature stayed warm and steady, day and night. He built rows of little apartments up the walls, reached by climbing tunnels. By his own math, there was room for close to 4,000 mice. This was not a study about crowding a cage. Calhoun wanted the answer to one strange question. What happens when survival becomes free? When no one has to fight or search or struggle for anything at all? So he placed his 8 mice inside and sealed the lid. For the first 100 days, the paradise worked exactly as planned. Then the first babies were born, and the population began to double. Roughly every 55 days, the population doubled. 8 mice became 16, then 32, then hundreds climbing over each other on the ramps. Out in the wild, this is where balance kicks in. When a group grows too big, the extra young mice leave and claim fresh ground. But inside Universe 25, there was no way. No new field, no next valley, no unclaimed corner. Every good nest already had an owner. Every role was already filled, so the young males who came of age had nowhere to go. They drifted into the open center and just gathered there. No territory to defend, no mate to win. No fight worth having. They were healthy, well-fed, and completely useless to the group. They had everything a mouse could want, except a place in the world, and that missing place slowly began to twist how they behaved. You would expect all that pressure to turn into fighting, and some of it did, but that was only half of what happened. The males split into 2 strange groups. Some became frantic and violent, attacking others for no clear reason, but others gave up completely. When a stronger mouse attacked them, they did not run. They did not fight back. They just lay there and took the blows, then wandered off as if nothing had happened. The females were breaking too. Many climbed to the highest nests and simply stopped having babies. And then Calhoun noticed something that made no sense. Food was available everywhere in the enclosure. Yet the mice began packing around just a few feeding spots. Dozens of them would crush together at one station. Right beside them, other feeders sat full and untouched. They no longer wanted to eat alone, even though they easily could. Calhoun called this the behavioral sink. Being near a crowd had become its own compulsion, stronger than comfort or sense. The most disturbing sign came from the mothers. Raising pups in that chaos was constant work, and many mothers stopped doing it. They failed to defend their nests. They abandoned their young in random corners. Some forgot which babies were even theirs. The social fabric holding the colony together was quietly coming apart. But the strangest thing of all was the generation now growing up inside this broken world. The pups who survived that neglect grew up with no example to follow. No mother had defended them. No male had shown them a role. And when they became adults, they behaved like nothing Calhoun had seen. These males never fought. They never chased a mate. They never joined the group at all. They only did 3 things. They ate, they slept, and they groomed. Their fur was flawless because they never got into a single fight. Not one scar, not one mark, just clean, perfect coats. Calhoun gave them a name. He called them the beautiful ones. They looked like the healthiest mice in the whole enclosure. But they were empty. They wanted nothing and did nothing. They never reproduced. They never learned to be social. And slowly that became the entire future of the colony. The older breeding mice aged and had fewer babies. Then came a day with one last pregnancy, one final litter. After that, not a single new mouse was ever born again. The enclosure was still packed with living, breathing animals. Their coats were perfect. Their bellies were full. And yet, in every way that mattered, the colony was already dead. When Calhoun published his results, the world took one easy lesson from it. Comfort makes you weak. Abundance rots a society from the inside. That reading feels true, but it misses what actually killed them. The food never ran out. The water never stopped. What ran out was something no one had thought to put in the paradise. It was roles, jobs, a place in the group that mattered. When a society has far more individuals than it has meaningful places to fill, breakdown follows. There were fighters with no one to fight. There were mothers with no one to help them. There were the young grown-up with no role waiting to be theirs. The comfort was not the poison. The emptiness was. Calhoun described it as two deaths. First came the death of the spirit, when the mice stopped playing any real part. Then, years later, came the death of the body. The first death arrived long before anyone stopped breathing. But here is where honesty matters. Mice are not people. A sealed metal cage is not a city. You cannot map a crowded mouse colony straight onto human society. What the experiment can do is raise a question, not settle one. And that question points straight at something inside your own life. Now think about a quiet Sunday when everything is handled. The bills are paid. The fridge is full. Nothing is chasing you. And still there is this odd hollow feeling in your chest. You are comfortable and somehow you feel empty. That feeling is not weakness. It is not a lack of things. It is the same gap those mice fell into. Your body needs food and shelter, but you need something more. You need a place where you matter to someone. You need a role that only you can fill. When no one truly needs you, comfort starts to feel like a waiting room. The mice could not name what was missing, but you can. And once you feel it, one uncomfortable question is hard to shake. So this is the real answer to how a paradise killed them. It was never the comfort that kept those mice alive. What held the colony together was having a place, a job, someone who needed you. When that vanished, no amount of food could replace it. The mice could not choose differently. But Calhoun believed people could. He thought we could keep inventing new roles faster than comfort could hollow us out. A world handed to you with everything but a purpose is not a gift. It is a quiet kind of danger, which leaves one question worth sitting with. If your mind can sense a missing role you can't even name, what else is it noticing that you've never learned to see? That quiet radar in your mind, the one that senses what's missing before you can name it, is the same instinct that makes some people catch tiny details everyone else walks right past. The next story shows you exactly why overthinkers notice what others miss, and it's on your screen now. Subscribe to Why begins for more strange reasons behind ordinary things.